All right, so we have been working towards being able to solve these rational inequalities. So we practiced with linear inequalities. Those were just x. And then we practiced with quadratic inequalities. Those were x squareds. And now we're going to move on to those rational inequalities. And that means all these are going to be in the form of a fraction. So when we did the quadratic inequalities, one thing that we did was list off our zeros. And in this case, our zero comes from here, right? So if x equals -2, that would be our zero. And then we also have a restriction, which is something that we talked about in topic 1 when we were solving rational equalities. They had an equal sign instead of an inequality sign. We had a restriction of x cannot equal 2. So this was our restriction. Okay, and so now as we're going through these, we have to incorporate both of those into our number line. So we have our zeros, and in this case it's just -2, and then we have those restrictions that we talked about in topic 1. X cannot be +2 because that would turn our rational equation into 0 in the denominator, and we can't have that. So step 1 is to find I like to call them critical points. So step 1, find critical points. And those are your zeros and restrictions. Okay, step 2 is going to be to set up your number line. So just like we were doing with those quadratic inequalities, I have my number line, and then I'm going to put my critical points on it. 0 would be here, but we don't need it. Okay. Step 3 is going to be to list your factors. Every factor that is in here, now there's only 2 up here, every factor needs to be listed. And remember, we're splitting this into like 3 chunks, right? Like this chunk, and this chunk. So don't put your factors too close here. So x plus 2 and x minus 2 are my 2 factors that I found in my rational equation. Okay, looking here, let's see, looking at this, I know that means that these will have open circles on them, and then I am looking for negative numbers. This means negative. Okay, and then we do the same way we were doing with the quadratic inequalities, where I pick a number on the outside here. Let's say like -4. All right, if I pick -4 and plug it in, -4 plus 2, I get a negative number. -4 minus 2, I get negative. I'm going to plug in 0. Here I get positive. Here I get negative. And maybe out here I'll plug in +4 and I get positive and positive. So list factors, decide plus or minus. Remember, then next we would multiply. Okay, so negative times negative is negative. Positive negative is, negative times negative is positive. This would be negative. This would be positive. And now I want to go back here. I want to know where it's negative, and that's in here. Okay, your answer then is that inequality sentence. Where is this negative? It is, oh my gosh, Miss Vote, learn how to read. So definitely wants to know where it's positive. Oof. Hope you guys all used a pencil. And then I can recolor my line like this. And this is where x is going to be less than -2 and x greater than +2. And you cannot write that as that compound statement because they are going in opposite directions. All right. Whew, that's a lot of stuff. Hopefully you have this list down, and I'll try to follow it in the same direction. Same thing. All right. This one now has 4 things. Oofda. Okay. So let's list off our zeros, and our zeros come from here. X equals 2 and 1. And our restrictions, our x cannot equals, will be 3 and 4. Okay, so found my zeros. Next, I'm going to set up my number line in order. So like if this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to give myself some room because I write big. We already knew that. Okay, and hopefully if you're better than me, you read this as greater than 0, which is positive. Oh, I can't believe I made that mistake last time. And open circle. All right, and now we can list our factors. So I like to list them in the order that they go here, right? Like x minus 1, x minus 2, x minus 3, x minus 4. All right, if I pick 0 in this one, you guys know I like 0. I would get negatives all the way down here. 0 minus 2, 0 minus 3, 0 minus 4. Okay, what do I pick between 1 and 2? You could pick 1.5. 1.5 minus 1 gives me a positive, and the rest of these are going to be negative. In here, I might pick 2.5. Here, I'm going to get a positive, positive, negative, negative. Here, I might pick 3.5. And out here, well, I can just pick an actual whole number now. Whew. And I should get positives for all these then. All right, so decide plus or minus. Okay, that was that step. Now we multiply. 4 negatives multiplied make a positive. 3 negatives and a positive make a negative. 2 and 2 give me a positive, negative, positive. Okay. All right, now this time I'm going to do it right. I want those positive pieces. Now I need to write my answer. So this answer is all x's less than 1. This one is those x's between 2 and 3. This last one is x's greater than 5. This is your answer. Okay, all that work just for this answer. Eek. I have one more example for you. Remember to be pausing, questioning, writing stuff down, whatever you need. All right. Oh, I was so mean this time. There's a new first step, and it's to factor. All right. So this is going to factor into x minus 3 and x plus 2. And this is those difference of perfect squares. All right, so I'm going to rewrite this for myself. I need that. X minus 3, x plus 2, x minus 1, x plus 1, and here I have less than or equal to 0. All right, next step, I'm going to find my zeros. Those are the ones in the numerator, right? I would have 3 and negative 2. And then my restrictions, x could not equal 1 and negative 1. Okay, so I want to mention, while I'm thinking about it, because you guys know how forgetful I am, that this is a less than or equal to symbol, which means as we set up our number line, we're going to have closed circles. But there's a problem. And the problem is that I can have closed circles here where my zeros are. Okay? But these have to be open circles. So, because if I was equal to, look at, I wrote it here, x cannot be equal to 1 or negative 1. So I cannot have a closed circle here. Even though it's asking me, I can't put negative 1 in. That would be very bad. Okay, that would send my denominator to 0. So you need to be very aware of the fact that when you have a greater than and equal to sign or a less than and equal to sign, any of those numbers in the denominator, those restrictions, always have an open circle, okay? So restrictions always have an open circle. We're going to list our factors next. X plus 2, x plus 1, x minus 1, x minus 3. Pick a number out here, -3 maybe. Negative, 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 negative. Remember, you can pick a decimal, -1.5, positive, negative, negative, negative. Here I'll pick 0, 0 plus 2, so positive, positive, negative, negative. In here I'll probably pick 2, 4, oops. And then out here maybe I'll pick 4. So positive, 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 positive. Next step is to multiply. Okay, this means that I want it to be negative, as long as I read my sign right, not like I did the first time. And then write my answer. So being very careful, and these are intervals. On this side, I can be less than or equal to -2, but less than -1. And then over here, again, +1, but 3. Okay? And these are my answers. And there is rational equations.